Alright, second stream of the day. Let's do some announcing. And something just happened on Twitch. That's an ad starts. That's fine. We don't care about that. I have my lights on, right? Yes, I do. Alright. So, welcome in, everyone. Let's just make some announcements that we're going live, and going live a bit early. More TTL, Ozone versus Survivalist. Yay. And then link, copy and paste. And thank you very much for the raid. As I'm making an announcement that we're going live, about to cast this set. So there we are. Thank you very much, Survivalist, for the raid. And thank you for letting me know you were starting early so that we indeed can cast this. I took a nice break after casting Red Bull early, but I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to some Survivalist gameplay on TTL, and I'm hoping. I was talking earlier about the map pool. I am hoping that Survivalist will be a bit of a clown and give us some Coast Arena. We saw it today and I loved it. So, I don't have an overlay set up for this. I've been casting Red Bull, and I totally slipped my mind that I needed to prepare an overlay for TTL. So, welcome. Oh, Full Metal's in. Thank you. Thanks for hopping on so soon. Get to eat and watch the set on the big screen. Well, thank you very much for the bits. And thank you, Marcos VYYV, for the follow. Thank you. He may be a clown, but he's not a water player. Okay, he can go Tulo in Zimbabwe and bypass. And Gooey Schmidt, thank you also for the follows. And thank you, everyone, for the follows, because we were just a few follows shy of 15,000. We're within 200 followers, so all the followers are much appreciated and loved. So, Zannied Out, thank you also for the follow. And I need to start the game. I need to figure out what I'm doing for capture age, get everything started. I was thinking, oh, I have another hour. I can maybe start setting up my overlays. And then I was like, oh, nope. Oh my gosh, what are you people doing telling me Survivalist is not a water player? What are you doing? You guys, what are you chat doing? He picked Coast Arena. Come on. He's been studying maps a lot. I know, I've been asking him about bug reports. And he said he didn't find bugs. And he noted a few things that I had already fixed. So I am hopeful that these maps are okay. Are there any clowns who are water players? I think I put myself in that boat, although I will be much lower level than the top clowns. Because years ago, I learned AoE 2, and Sentient Sauce, thank you very much for the sub. And let me make sure that we see the alert when it comes in. And Crescent Rose, thank you for using your Prime sub. Waiting for the alerts. Official water clown. Stream Elements isn't making them pop up. Are we not getting alerts? They were working earlier. Oh, there we go.
Venison.
We should get one following that. Anyway, as I was saying, I learned AoE 2 by watching Rex of Eddie and Jon Slow back when he was Jon Snow on Voobly, preparing for a noob arena tournament. And then after that, as I played more AoE 2, I was taught by Tato how to play on water maps. So I never really learned Arabia, I just learned clown play, and I learned water maps. And thank you, Woozai, for the sub. I don't know why my alerts are slowed down. It's probably like, Twest, what are you doing? You just went live when you were streaming earlier. Stream Elements is being silly. Thank you all very much. Tato was a beast. He was a beast at water. There we go.
Those cataphracts pack quite a punch. Better to fire and retreat than face them toe-to-toe.
I know. Oh, yes, one more.
Bleda is no more. When Attila returns to camp, he alone will rule the Huns.
We play no eco on Arena. And thank you also for the follow. Oh, those alerts are out of order. But years ago, we had a meetup in Italy, and I shared a room with Eddie. It was actually crazy. And thank you, Outer Lemming, for the follow. We were all packed into this Airbnb in Italy, and it was this beautiful Airbnb, but weirdly enough, some of the bathrooms were not furnished, and the shower we had was literally just a hole cut in the ground. There was no actual drain on top of it. It was just a hole in the ground. But anyway, the room next to us, there was another room, and there was this painting on the wall. But turns out it wasn't actually a painting. You could actually open it, and there was a window into the next room that you could open from the opposite side. And we figured that out because we looked up, and there was Bullet Chen, of all people, who had opened it and was poking his head through. Freaking Bullet Chen there. Yeah, that was years ago. There was Nilly took a group photo, and he brought a drone with him to like fly above and take the group photo. And we all stood on the balcony in this Airbnb, and then Nilly went to land the drone, and we have a video of Nilly's drone, and this is how you know he's the person responsible for pathfinding, flying back on autopilot to the location where it took off. But as it flies back, the roof of the house is in the way, and crash right into the roof of the house. His drone. It somehow recovers, like spins around and lands. We have a video somewhere. I'll have to, next time there's a big pathfinding bug, I'll have to dig that up. I will need to dig up Nilly's drone piloting skills. So let's look at the civs now. Actually, wait, I can get both of these on 2 windows, I think. Hold on, let me do some overlay editing. I hit capture age. That was not right. There we go. Ozone Survivalist maps over here. We have the maps. And then civs. There we go. And watch live. There we go. The Wi-Fi and the hidden cameras in the Airbnb threw off the drone, of course. You never know what else is in that Airbnb. There was this one room that, well, basically, there was this large dining room, and we were like, oh, this is great, we can all eat here. But then we found, like, a wasp's or hornet's nest or something, I don't know, but they, like, took over the room, and we couldn't use it. Someone got stung by one of them. It was pretty nasty. Hello, Elsie River. Good morning. Good morning. And Mongols first for Ozone. So we have a good variety of maps here. We have Seychelles. Oh, and thank you for gifting out 5 subs.
Good! You found some gold.
Oh, yes. We got the William Wallace quotes for 5 sub gifts. How close are we? We are... Oh, I think we passed then. We passed the... Oh, no, we didn't. We need 10 more subs for the chicken costume. If we hit that, I'll put the chicken costume on next time I stream. Should have sent the drone in. Oh my gosh. How have I not thought of that after all these years? We should have sent the drone in to fight the wasps. So, good variety of maps we have here. All of them have a bit of water on them, though. We tried to put a bit more flexibility in the map pool this year for different maps. We're up to 15 maps. In the past, we used 11. And I feel that in TTL Season 4, especially because we added fish to Acropolis, we had a few too many Fire Galley small pond maps, where there were a lot of maps with, like, Acropolis. I think we had Cross there still. We had Jungle Swamp, and I forget the map pool, but there were a couple others that felt like you win the middle with Fire Galleys, and then it snowballs. So we did different types of water maps a bit. Lurk, enough, gotta give some love for TTL. Well, thank you very much. Am I involved organizing TTL? I edited the map scripts. None of these maps are my original scripts, but they're all from a variety of different authors, and I tweaked them, fixed a few bugs in them, made them a bit more consistent for TTL. So I'm not adminning, so anyone who gets an admin loss, that is not on me. Anyone who gets a penalty for not having a stream delay, that is not on me. Who is the favorite? I think this is a pretty darn even matchup, honestly. I think it's pretty even. I know that Survivalist has been practicing the maps a lot. I'm not as sure what Ozone's prep is, but I'm sure he's been preparing too. But I get the feeling this could go either way, and if one of them is like super well prepared, I'd probably favor them. But it should be a good competitive match. Ozone definitely has more tournament experience. I did beat Survivalist in a tournament game once by picking Empire Wars Water Nomad. Why am I not surprised by the Byzantines pick? Byzantines are going to be great for the water maps, like Hybrid for African rivers. And I think we saw earlier Italians on Coast Arena. I think Byzantines are a similar civ. Great on the water, and also a great clown civ. So stuff like Byzantines, Italians, Portuguese, maybe even Armenians, even though I felt Italians had a good advantage against them. Maybe Bengalis, good for Coast Arena. Water Nomad is kind of cheating. Exactly, Beargwin, exactly. I had to... See, I could pick any map in the game. And I figured, what map has... It worked first against Mihai and then against Survivalist. Oh my gosh, thank you for the gift.
It is a good day for la ear to die.
Alright, so that means we did hit the... we hit the chicken cosplay goal. I think since this is just going to be a short stream, I think what I'll do next stream I will do it so that we'll have it for the entire stream instead of just for one set. We'll do it. Oh gosh, that means I'm going to cast the games tomorrow in a chicken costume. So tomorrow will be the chicken costume stream. Perfect. Thank you very much for the gifts. I put the like here quotations on that sub goal. So what sets tomorrow? That'll be Husiel, Gabby, Blue Niaz, and Kingstone Tur. Oh, Kingstone Turs is another one. So we'll do Husiel, Gabby live, and then Blue Niaz as Rex after that, I think. So that'll be a fun 2 sets to cast in the chicken costume. So thank you very much, and all these help cover travel expenses as I go to travel to Red Bull. And Alemao Marquez, thank you very much for the follow. See, I was talking about something during the draft, and now you distracted me, and I forgot. A little ADHD moment here. Right. No, just wait for them to queue up. Don't see a lobby yet. Thank you so much for all the subs. So, yeah, we were talking about the map pool. Right, so this time for, I haven't seen a planned time for Vinch versus Hart yet. I'm sure that will be posted all over it once it is, and thank you Madzilla787 for the follow. Thank you also Survivalist for the raid. I gotta pay attention to my YouTube chat too. See, no Korean mirror. Hello, Dagul. And yes, no Korean mirror in TTL. We will probably see Koreans at some point, but not as a mirror. Koreans could also be a good coast arena civ. They're great on water with the discount. And they're a good closed map civ for late game, and they have the Fire Lancer. So someone asked about, was that about the siege towers? Yep, I just went back online, Numerfault. I had taken a break and just came back online. It's, yeah, the siege towers. We saw one used as a siege tower earlier. We saw one used to hop walls as a siege tower. But yes, they did get nerfed. I subtracted 45 hit points from 220 to 175, and I removed 5 garrison space. So every infantry unit that you garrison adds 0.05 speed, where the speed is measured in tiles per second. So what that does is I cannot actually change the amount of speed added per infantry unit. That's hard-coded. In the next DLC, maybe that changes. Maybe there'll be like more options to mod that. But as far as right now, I can't actually change the speed added per unit garrison. What I can do though is I can change both the base speed of the siege tower, which by default is 0.8, and I can change the maximum garrison capacity, which by limiting that limits the maximum speed it travels at. So I didn't touch the base speed for this. What we did, we changed the garrison capacity, decreasing that from 10 down to 5. So what that means is 1, if you're trying to hop units in and out, there'll be fewer units inside of it. And 2, the max speed caps at 1.05. And for comparison, a long swordsman with squires right now is 1.06. So if you're putting a whole bunch of infantry in it trying to get a speed boost, you're realistically not actually moving faster than the infantry. You're still slower than the spear line, and ever so slightly slower than long swords, even with squires. And second, you still can hop walls with it. We're not completely banning it, so you still can hop walls over it. And third, the max speed then is limited not to, what did I say? It was, oh yeah, the old max speed was 1.3, and a knight without husbandry is 1.35. So we basically decreased the max speed of the siege tower from knight to longsword. So those are the changes we made. Will it be enough? I don't actually know. I did see one game with Jin swordsman hopping in and out of a siege tower against slingers earlier, but I also did see it used as a siege tower. We saw that in our Barbaroom target game earlier. Barbaroom hopped over walls with some warrior priests as the Armenians. So we saw it for its intended purpose too. Whether that's enough actually to nerf it and stop the hopping, especially with Fire Lancers, we'll see. But I think it's good for now. and the DLC should release in the middle of TTL, at which point that probably will have its own changes to Siege Towers, and we'll probably go forward with those changes and the official ones rather than continuing with the ones that we've done now. We expect those hopefully to be a bit more thorough. Most least played Civ overall. Hard to say most least played because that's going to depend on bans. It might be something Catan's related that they always get banned even though they'd be the best Civ. Same for maybe Koreans. So I don't know, I think that's going to be very preference heavy. I expect, based on the map pool we have for TTL, lots of hybrid civs to be played. Italians, Lithuanians, Persians, and maybe some closed civs. So like I said earlier, the cross between hybrid and closed civs, Portuguese, Byzantines, maybe Italians, Koreans, maybe Armenians. Those would be towards the top, I think, for me. Yeah, least played wouldn't typically get... I mean, least played... we probably won't see Bulgarians. That's probably my pick, Bulgarians. I bet they will be the least played. Cubans might see some play if people like them for closed maps. The 2TC boom can be strong. Let's see, the dashboard still says Ozone and Survivalist are drafting. And I don't see a lobby up yet for them. So I hope that that is accurate. Oh, nope, they're in Seychelles. They just started Seychelles. And we have a 2-minute spec delay, and we're good. Do I know how to stop the Kuman Ram Rush on Arena? Yeah, I had to click the thing again, but we're good now. You can't stand the Bulgarian slander. Do I know how to stop Kuman Ram Rush on Arena? Yeah, 1v1 or team game. In a 1v1, you can usually tower and wall behind the Rams, as long as you're a Stonewall Civ. And that usually stops it from what I've seen. But maybe there's some execution I haven't seen before. For team games, I think it's a lot trickier. Just rolled in. What did you miss? We had enough subs to hit the chicken cosplay, which will be tomorrow. Alright, Bulgarians tearing it up on the lower ELO ladder. Remember, this is hosted by T90, but it's not low ELO Legends. This is Silver League. This is low ELO expert players. So, alright, I should open Capture Age. This is my favorite AoE 1 song right now. It would win TTL lower than Dirt. Yeah, this is low ELO experts here. If you consider 2K6 to be low ELO, which some players in Silver League have been 2K6, or are 2K6, then yes. Alright, looks like we now are starting. And let me have the settings. Is blue versus purple okay? I should probably go to blue versus red there. So we'll have Survivalist as the blue Bengalis to the west, and Ozone as the red Vikings to the east. Rusted Carbon. Oh, that Vikings intro, I love that. If you want to check out Vitalis, he's the composer for Forgotten Empires. He has a YouTube with an extended version of the Vikings intro. Highly recommend it. Yeah. So for this map, if you saw it in other tournaments such as LY Cup or Thalassocracy, the one main tweak we did, other than a couple of bug fixes, was trying to get it down to a smaller map size. I think it originally was either 168 by 168 or even larger, and we got it down to, I think, 144 by 144, which is the standard water map size. And hello, Sir Baron. Ozone picks yellow sometimes? I think we're fine, red versus blue. So it's a tiny bit smaller, but I think still captures the main theme of water on both sides, lots of unexplored territory for landing, or large spaces where you can hide when landing. Are there oysters on this map? Yes, we actually added oysters to it. The version I had seen before didn't have oysters, but we put 8 oysters in the middle because why not? There are also oysters, I think, on some of the beaches on the outside. Yeah, on the outside. We decided to add a few more to the middle. Other than making it smaller, that's the main gameplay change we did. More oysters in the middle, and there are lots of fish in the middle, should you want to dock and fight over the fish, but then you could also dock the outside and go for fish on the outside. lots of options here, and I don't know if there's particularly a meta yet. Let me pause my YouTube stream myself so I don't have 3 windows scrolling around. Hello, Tundra Blitz, how you doing? Yeah, thanks again for Survivalist for letting me know they were starting an hour early so I could hop on to cast this. And in the past I had seen this, I think LY Cup was a 9-vil start, so maybe a bit more room for some creativity in the builds. I know Lithuanians I've already seen in TTL go for an early lumber camp straggler tree, or not a lumber camp, an early straggler tree strategy for a super early dock. But here looks like a more standard build we'll get from Survivalist. Oh, who was ever so slightly housed for 23 seconds? Wait, what? What does go? How is he housed? That is, that is rough to be housed for that long. I'm not on kick, no. Is this gold or silver? This is silver. This is silver. So pretty crazy to have such a high-level matchup in silver. I mean, look at their elos, 24-25 and 24-61. This is pretty darn close. I do have an account on Kick, but I made it mostly because I just wanted not to lose the username. So I just made the account to have the username. Sometimes players just cook too hard. That's true. I imagine Survivalist being the type of player who could overcook. You beat Ozone in Empire Wars? Does that mean you can be in TTL Silver? If you also beat him in TTL Bronze to qualify, yes. Oh, did he have an instant dock out here? Oh my gosh, I didn't even see the dock. You know what I should do? Hold on. He's in the blue. I will do this. He'll be in the cyan. Then I can see him. Then I actually can see him. On the water maps, I think cyan's more visible. So Ozone here, oh my gosh, look at the gameplay, was thinking I want to drop the scout off and attack the villager, but I need to prevent him from quick walling, so I need the transport in the right location. But the Vill had loom, and whoever has the hill advantage there wins the fight. And he decided to disengage, and Survivalist got the wall up, so now the Vill isn't hit. You had an egg taco for dinner. Does that mean you can have ice cream? You can always have ice cream. Made an account on Thing to make a thing with the API. From my limited experience with StreamerBot, it looks like Kick's API is more limited than Twitch's API is. But I haven't really used it myself to test. Yeah, so 41-second idle time. And I guess that is from the instant dock that we saw from him. Using the straggler trees as part of the build, but went for a fast dock. And seems to be well, I guess he'll get 2 vills to make up for the idle time, at least, but not a perfectly clean build from him. I'll have to ask him about this afterwards and see if he had maybe something went wrong with the build. We'll need to watch that again in the Dark Age and go through it frame by frame to see every misclick and every bit of idle time. Yeah. I also fixed a bug where they didn't start with a hut, so they should always have 1 hut. It's a good build if he pulls it off well. Alright. Still better than YouTube's API. Yeah, Beargrin, I don't know what happens with YouTube, but sometimes my bot just stops connecting to YouTube, or my chat just stops connecting to YouTube. And hello, Amity AoE. Go Ozone. Alright, YouTube cheering for Ozone, it looks like. So, scout fight here from Survivalist. He's up first. Ozone's scout also lost a tiny bit of damage to that Vill. Why do you have the hut here? Because you start with the transport, and if you don't have the hut, you'd start housed. So everyone would then have to click loom right at the start. So the hut means... Well, I guess that's what Survivalist was thinking. Since he started with a hut, then he doesn't need a house as early on, and so could go for the early dock. I guess that's his thought process. You can do maybe 1 house at the start and then dock. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Because you have the transport, and you have then 5 pop space of leeway instead of the 1 pop space you have at the start. So you build 1 house, you can do your dock super early, chop stragglers for wood. Yeah. Is this just a regular game? Oh, hello, Travis. Hello, we got another Travis. This is TTL. This is another tournament. This is not Red Bull, but this is TTL. Seychelles isn't listed there? It is listed there. Are you looking at the right season, J-Ray? Yeah, make sure you're looking at the Season 5 maps. Remember, Bronze for Season 5 used the maps from Season 4, so make sure you're looking at the right season. Not every civ has houses. The Huns don't have houses. And Thunderbuck, thank you for the follow. So archery range here from Ozone, and the question is, what does he do with the archers? Does he try to transport them somewhere? He lost his transport, actually, it looks like. So men-at-arms forward. Men-at-arms forward for Ozone. And a few walls going up for Survivalist around his lumber camp. You're wondering what is the Pokemon? Looks kind of like a pair of like earmuffs for me, or headphones. If you ignore the bottom part and just look at the top. Travis Inception. Wow. When I flew to the Noble Apartment Cup, I went to this restaurant in the airport to order food because I had an 11 p.m. flight, and I needed to nourish myself past security. And I went to pick up my order, and they gave me an order for another Travis. And I was like, oh no, this isn't my food. So we sorted it out and made sure each other got the right food. And then when I got on the flight, turns out that I did the cheap flight option. I didn't do the pick your seat option. I was as bare bones as possible. Turns out whoever did the seating chart must have had fun seating people with the same name next to each other, because they seated me right next to that Travis whose food I had been given. We both got to the seat and we're like, oh, hello again. I know you from 5 minutes ago. We meet again. So, Survivalist, walling the men-at-arms out, walling the archers out. Has to be careful, archers maybe could run around here to the left side of his lumber camp. What does he have forward? Just his scout. He'll see extra archers from Ozone. He does have a great fishing eco, 6 fishing ships to 4, so maybe a bit heavier on the fish for Survivalist. Ozone went to the middle, where I think it's probably a bit easier to fish in the middle than on the outside. What a travesty. The traveling Travises. And okay, the men-at-arms get it in. Survivalist, does he realize this lumber camp is open? Does Ozone realize the lumber camp is open? That could be 3, maybe not dead, but fleeing vills. Should just shared the food. That's the fletching on the way for Survivalist. I remember that restaurant because there was a touch screen where I had to order the food, and they offered discounts if you worked at the airport. So there was a touchscreen choice, and it asked you whether you worked at the airport, and the options were yes or no, I am not an airport employee. But the text was too big to fit on the box, and the word employee was cut off, so the option read, no, I am not an airport. And just to be clear, in case anyone watching was confused, I personally am not an airport. You cannot land your planes on T-West. Just in case we had any confusion. And my Liam13, thank you very much for the follow. So Ozone getting forced away. We have about 45 seconds of a lead for a Survivalist. Oh, well, maybe T-East, though. He is maybe. Maybe he's an airport. So faster uptime from Ozone. He doesn't have a forward Vil. I was thinking maybe there's room to do a workshop on this map and apply some pressure. Survivalist is on stone, though, so he might be going for a castle for some Rathas. No real aggression on the water. They've both docked opposite areas. One on the inside, one on the outside, and you can't sail between them. We need the land siege tower for transporting your ships from one area to another. T-West has high baggage fees. Yeah, I did have a checked bag on that flight, but I didn't bring a carry-on other than a personal item. They would have charged extra for that. That's what happens when you fly budget airlines to try to save money for GL. Am I the train station west from Monopoly? I am not. Although I did have someone share me a photo once. They were in Atlanta, and they were in the Western Terminal, and the sign did say T West. So maybe I actually am an airport. Our airline is that bad? It was Norse Airs. It was a very budget airline. It's like flying Ryanair or Spirit Airlines or one of the budget ones. It would have been like Iceland Air, yeah. Probably the same thing. So, Crossbow just coming in for Survivalist, and his Castle for Rathos will be up in time. Ryanair still gives you nightmares. My experience from Spirit Airlines was flying back from Hidden Cup. We had an aborted takeoff because of a false positive warning light that the pilot then cleared. They inspected. They determined it was a false positive. So they went to take off again, and again aborted the takeoff. So then we had to sit on the runway for about 3 hours while they inspected it again, and the pilot had to fill out paperwork to say, yes, indeed, it is safe to fly. And then the third time, we took off. Landed on T-West, gift 5 subs. Cheapest airline you'll ever get. A $30 flight. So Ratha comes forward. That will take out the crossbows. At least it wasn't aborted landings. I missed the airline 3 times. And longboat in the middle. Okay, Ozone deciding he's going to do a longboat in the middle. Usually aren't too effective against land units. We'll see how it does here. Lots of arrows against the Ratha. It's not that great at hitting land units. It doesn't do all that much damage. One of the keys to the longboat is the +9 it does against ships. And in the absence of that, it's not as threatening as you'd think. Oh, standings is still for Red Bull, King Arthur. That's a different tournament. We are just starting TTL, so there really aren't any standings yet. This is the 4th set we've casted so far. Went to a different airport. Nonsense, longboats kill all? I mean, they are pretty good on the water, aside from versus caravels. Well, Survivalist coming forward, Ozone will have all the time in the world to prepare for that, as Survivalist adds in gill nets. What do we like late game, Bengalis Vikings? I'm thinking Bengalis. I'm thinking Vikings will struggle against elephant archers if Survivalists can get a good number of them out. Remember, no thumb ring for the Vikings. So not quite as strong as they used to be in the Castle Age. Ooh, that Ratha's doing donuts. Doing some spin moves among the archers. And let's see, Ratha's go down to the Mangonel. Another Scorpion comes forward, and that will be repaired by Ozonesville. And Ballistics on the way. Also, there are these little ponds of shorefish that you can TC, apparently. Interesting that we get a TC there, but I guess between gold and shorefish is a great TC spot. Usually you think of TCing woodlines, because maps don't have shorefish like this, but that's a nice location. Now they get bombard cannon, but they do both get cannon galleon. Let's see, so cannon galleon, siege engineers for the Bengalis. And same thing for the Vikings, so both get good cannon galleon. Ooh, monk goes down. I need to investigate this more, but it seems like monks prefer dropping relics to their left. So Vil goes down on the farms. Farms have HP on them, so no farm snipes. Torn between rooting for Survivalist. You can hope that all of the Rathas die horrible, painful deaths, but Survivalist wins. You could do a mixture of those. Flew a cheap airline from NC to Vegas, and the lady that checked you also waved the light on the runway to back the plane up. I imagine that's what happened when I landed or took flights out of Ithaca, New York, which is a really small airport, because it took about 30 minutes for the 20 people on the flight to get their baggage. I suspect that there was literally one employee who had to wave the lights to land the plane at night and then unload all the baggage. Because that took a really long time. 40 plus groups of Ratha look ridiculous. Imagine 40 plus Ratha on stand ground patrol. You might see that soon. So, Ore Galley on the way for Survivalist, as we have a couple of houses up now. Bills will repair the houses. Feels like he needs some damage? Well, he is down quite a few vills, 91 to 77. I'm just still curious what the Vikings end up doing in late game. And against the possibility of Elephant Archers, I do feel that they need to end it quickly. And the size on this map makes it feel decent for a longer boom and longer hold. The imp timing, though, the imp timing will be vastly different. Survivalist down by 3k resources collected and nowhere near going up to imp. Wheelbarrow and handcart for free is insanely powerful. And here are some crossbows taking out some vills. Emu flying to Ithaca, yes. Have you ever flown into Ithaca? Oh, look, Butter, Turs, everyone here. Getting in and out of Ithaca in winter is rough, yeah. Lidicor should be there now. He probably knows my pain. So there is Careening and Imperial Age on the way for Ozone. Not valuing water enough. Well, it's hard to value water against Vikings, right? It's like, what are you going to do against longboats? Bengalis, they do have a great galleon line and great fire ships. But I think if you get imp and get shipwright, and then do galleon, maybe you can fight longboats decently. Vikings, remember, don't have fire ships in this patch. No fire ships for them, but they do have demos. But galleons are probably your best bet. Could be interesting, though, to try to dock the middle water and then go fast fire. Because it's such a small pond, maybe the longboats get trapped and can't take good fights against your fires, and then you run into the Viking lack of fire. You at least have Castle Age demos as the Bengalis. So Ratha's fighting the Scorpions, but good score lead for Survivalist. Down by 12 vills, but pushing with Ratha's. Snipes a monk, but after the conversion. And some Scorpions getting bolts on the Rathas. Where Rathas can go melee mode. Still tank a Mangonel shot. And I hear more monks. I hear more conversions coming in. This map is beautiful. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. And again, all the credit to Death Counter, the original author of the map. I made a couple of slight tweaks to it for TTL. I hope I maintain the beauty of it. And crossbows idling a lumber camp, but lots of TCs for defense. That's 5 TCs for Ozone, and he's still imp first. And thank you, Aeronautic, for the follow. Hello, hello. When did TTL Silver start? Formally, it started on 2 days ago, on Friday the 16th. Today I cast, there was one set played yesterday, and today I casted everything that's been played so far. This is our 4th set. If you check my VOD from earlier, I casted 3 sets. And Imperial Age on the way for Survivalist. I think T90's probably been busy with Red Bull. I don't think he's gotten to TTL yet. You like something other than Korean's Mirror? I'm sure a lot of people do. So, Doc, we have a housing crisis now for Ozone. Stopped at 135 pop. And Survivalist is up to imp. Still really far down in terms of res and villagers. And Mof Joe, thank you for the follow. Well, Survivalist gets up to imp, and I wonder if he stays on Rathas, or if he tries to go Elephant Archer. I don't think Rathas, or even Elephant Archers, maybe wouldn't like fighting Berserks, but in ranged mode, both of them should probably kill Berserks fast enough. I might prefer the HP of Elephant Archers, though. I'm pretty sure that Chieftain's +5 attack versus Cav does not actually give you any bonus against elephant units. So only having a bonus against Cav and not against elephants will be much weaker than Halbs or most elephant counters. And now, Miss Micro from Survivalist is probably microing something over here in Ozone's base, but not paying attention to his Ratha at home and letting them die to the longboats. Yeah, exactly, Butter. That's what I'm saying. Am I sure it doesn't translate? I'm pretty sure it doesn't, but we can check. It specifically separated cavalry and camels, which individually each are armor classes. And it didn't say the elephant armor class. But the description might be ambiguous as to the meaning of cavalry. So if we get chieftains, we'll click a berserk and we'll check. Aren't elephants in the cav class? They are, but I'm saying there are two classes. There are cav class and the elephant class that both are, and the elephant has both armor classes. If you look at a halb, it has a total of plus 60, separated into plus 32 and plus 28, one for each class, that it does against elephants. So conscription on the way, and there we will have the second tech. We will have Bogsvigar. I don't know if it's Bogsvigar or Bogsvigar or something similar to that. So I'll go with Bogsvigar. That's what I think I've heard Ornlu say, and I'll trust Ornlu for pronunciations. And that will be +1 attack for the Arbalest line. So they missed Thumb Ring, so it's a bit of accuracy and fire rate they miss, but they do get +1 attack. +5 anti-cav and anti-armor. Alright, yeah, so no extra anti-elephant. So Bogsvigar, Galleon, Gold Shaft Mining, Treadmill Crane, lots of stuff coming in as that Cannon Galleon goes for the town center. It's pronounced Bogsvigar. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. It's my favorite medieval civilization, not yet in AoE 2. I don't think I can answer that because all my favorite medieval civilizations come from AoE 2.
Hi.
Sorry, I just read your comment. And hello, Hoplite. So this TC going down to the Cannon Galleon. As I said, Cannon Galleons could be interested on this map. Since we did make the map a bit smaller, I think there is a bit more area that the Cannon Galleons can hit. So Elite Cannon Galleon with Siege Engineers gets up to 16 range. I wonder if this castle could be ranged from the middle. Cannon Galleon would be very close to the coastline, but didn't stop it over here. So Ozone now taking a good score lead. And what happens if this map goes to a stalemate and neither player can push and it becomes a wood game? Remember, there's no time limit in TTL. We don't have the 75-minute time limit that Red Bull had. We're not going to be competing for score. So fast fire hit by the skirms. Wood game would probably never happen with longboats. I mean, this could potentially be a stalemate game. Imagine one player has cannon galleons on the outside, and one player has cannon galleons on the inside. And neither can push the other. So Ozone will be going to the outside to claim some of the extra resources. What happened to Mr. Yo? As far as I know, Yo streamed without a delay and got minus 100 points. There was some confusion because they didn't really have a clear penalty specified. And the minus 100 points was meant for the siege tower. And Yo streamed accidentally without a delay. As far as I know, he just forgot to set a delay. But then was penalized 100 points. That was announced at the end of the ladder. And as far as I'm aware, he achieved his highest elo before the 48-hour deadline of needing to stream without a delay kicked in. So streaming without a delay did not actually affect his tournament seedings other than the penalty. So it was... When they first said minus 100 elo, they didn't say whether it applied to highest or to current. Where if it applies to current, that would both kind of make sense because that wouldn't affect... The streaming without delay wouldn't affect his highest elo anyway. And that wouldn't have affected the tournament seedings, but putting it for the highest does affect his seeding. So, I'm not actually sure what happened. I didn't see... Well, I was streaming at the time, I saw that, and I saw it because apparently my chat told me that Nilly posted in T90's chat, and then I didn't see a post about it from the admins on the Red Bull server until after it ended, so I don't know if they posted somewhere else. But, I don't know. So, I really can't offer any insights to it, but from what I've heard, personally, I don't think it was a very reasonable punishment. I think just doing a... If you have to do anything, then a prize pool reduction makes a lot more sense. Because now, even though Yo is one of the top Empire Wars players, he's going to have a lower seed in the tournament, and lower seeded players will match up with Yo before they should have and won't get as far in the tournament as they should. So it also punishes some of the other players farther down in the ladder. It's seeded by ATP. Well, same thing. When you're seeding it by ATP, Yo's going to have a higher ATP than whoever would have been there anyway. Right? Because he's going to be one of the top seeded ATP players. It's not seeded by the ladder, right? It's not seeded by the ladder. But it's the same thing. Instead of Yo being a finalist, we might have something like Yo Viper as a finalist, which would be in some ways a punishment for Viper when that matchup shouldn't have been able to happen before. It's not necessarily just lower players going through, but also the other top players there, who had the other top 3 players who would have been in that bracket, now have a chance of facing Yo, if presumably Yo would be a favorite to make it through, which is a good chance that they would face him then. So, full light cap from Survivalist. That's one of the things that we always face in whenever you run kind of a single elimination bracket. Like, sometimes you think it might be better to have a lower seed to matchup punt. Yeah, exactly, Happy Leaves, right? So it affects the seeding of everyone else. Yeah. Thank you, damn it, Janet, for the follow. Because I remember, when I hosted, what was it? Was it Stronghold Frenzy? Or was it Cartographers? It must have been Cartographers. Because Ozone had messaged me asking about the 1v1 seeding. And I think you also Smashing Tack. Or maybe it was some tournament with Ozone. But he was asking that because they had a higher seed, they had to, even though they had a better matchup in the early round, their next round matchup was a tougher opponent. And there are ways, you could take every round of your single elimination tournament and reseed the players. There are ways to get around that, but that's not, I guess that's just an alternate way of doing it. So sometimes there are like weird seeding things that come into effect in tournaments, and it's not always a great matchup level, but I think sometimes that just comes from a tournament structure, and you prefer it not to be through admin decisions. Thank you everyone, Gooey also for the follow. So we have more guard towers from Ozone with longboats and cannon galleons in the middle of the map. And that's one thing I've been seeing even through the first 2 games of TTL now. More guard towers from player and not Nikauska. I thank you very much for the follow. More guard towers from players, and I love this. People maybe have seen the Korean matchups and realized, hey, guard towers are strong. This Central European guard tower architecture is my absolute favorite building in the game. Look at how pretty it is. Don't upgrade that to keep. Don't ruin this perfection here. And then we'll have a castle. Is this castle too close to the shoreline? Why did our brilliant leaders insist on building the castle so close to the shoreline? Survivalist wants to make sure there's no raid through here. And Ozone's eco is flying. He is far above Survivalist. He had a great boom. He's had more vills. He's at 200 pop. And Survivalist doing heated shot, elite elephant archer. And this feels like it's kind of stalematy. Right now, Ozone doesn't have a way to push. Maybe Ozone could use longboats to take water on the outside and start using cannon galleons to secure more of the land. And, oh, Ragumi, thank you very much for the sub. Get an alert soon.
Barbarossa, I do hate to strike you when you're down, but the Lombard League has agreed that I would make a better emperor. So sorry.
Oh, freaking Hemi the Lion. So, Trebs, this feels like Joan of Arc 5 when you're trying to use your bombard cannon to snipe the cannon galleon. Those things are so shifty and so maneuverable. So, Ozone's still in the middle, controlling the middle with the longboats. And maybe this here is a complete mistake from Survivalist. just right from the start of the game, from his initial dock. Remember, he tried to go for that dock on the outside instantly. Maybe docking the middle as the Bengalis would be the way to go. I guess he wanted to go FC for the Rathas. But you are also giving up the middle when you could go fire ships in the middle. And usually you don't see Vikings on those tiny pond maps like Kawasan or Cross, or that version of Acropolis we had last season, because they don't have the fire galley line, and it's hard to micro galleys in the middle, and maybe longboats do help you win against fire ships early on, but I wonder if maybe Survivalist strategy should have been focus the middle pond so that you have this for the late game, where it's harder to fight longboats on the outside than in the middle. And right now he's going for fires, but he's going fires against elite longboats, which have a nice, lovely little golden dragon head now. And Ozone will continue doing outposts at guard towers on the outside islands. Do Vikings have keep even? Oh, they don't have keep. Oh, lovely. They'll maintain this architecture. Beautiful. And we're going to have a ram push. Champions inside of the rams. Champions inside of the rams. How much does elite longboat cost? Does Capture Age tell us? I don't think it tells us the cost. And I don't know that one off the top of my head, unfortunately. What are Survivalist civils doing? They're dying. Yeah, they're already elite. Yeah, Vikings don't get keep. So Shipwright on the way for Survivalist. So Shipwright is... where is it? There you go. 20% discount in wood and build 50% faster. So compared to the Vikings who don't get Shipwright, they do just have a 20% discount on their warship cost, which is wood and gold, so it's a bit better than Shipwright, but they don't get the production speed. However, longboats themselves produce faster than the galley line does anyway, so if you're still just going longboats, you're still in a decent spot with your production. $750 food, $475 gold. Nice. Yeah, and 80 wood, 40 gold per longboat after the discount. So that's cheaper than the normal galley line in terms of wood, which would be 90, 30. And I'm not sure what 20% of 90 is. I should be, though. Is that 78 or 72? One of those two numbers. I'll go 72 for the discount. So, looking now for elephant archers, and ram push, the rams will be extra important as one castle goes down. Cannon Galleon's going for the other outside castle. And going down to a fast fire. Champion's destroying the fast fire. But now, Ozone has to push into elephant archers. Survivalist, let's see his unique techs. Ooh, he doesn't have Mahayana, so he doesn't have villagers take less pop space. Maybe still a little too expensive for him. But he'll be pushing to elephant archers, and right now there's no melee unit to deal with the rams. Is there chieftains now? There is chieftains to answer the question. So, yeah, I'd click on champion. No bonus damage specifically against elephants, just against cavalry. And to point out what I was talking about earlier, we see the war elephant class and the cavalry class for the armors of the elephant archer. Capture Age just jumped there. So light cav now as a melee unit against rams, and Survivalist will be going light cav spam and elephant archer. So he'll be going both of these, probably trying to get Mahayana at one point, but I question if he can keep the production up of two very food-intensive units when he only has 26 farmers. And the Cannon Galleons on the outside now, you probably do want to see elite Cannon Galleon with siege engineers. They have siege engineers, but elite Cannon Galleons get 2 more range. And that would take out more farming space from Survivalist. And if he can't farm, he can't keep the army up, and Ozone could spam units until he finally whittles the numbers down, as Ozone has 6,000, 7,000 food. And Pleb to Sussex, thank you for the follow. Oh, I see a demo there. I see a heavy demo. So I think Ozone has this. Maybe Survivalist is pushing on the north, though? He is still at almost 200 pop. And Cannon Galleons can attack the guard tower, attack the workshop. So what's happening on the north? So Survivalist took these islands. He did some guard towers up there. And that's where his navy's focused. Fast fires and Cannon Galleons. And Tommy Englander, thank you very much for using your Prime sub. So that tower getting hit.
Very well. The iron boar lairs near here. Let the one who kills this mighty beast lead our people.
Oh, thank you very much for the sub. This match feels confused and slow. Well, I imagine Seychelles will probably have a wide variety of different gameplay opportunities available on it. We saw tons of landings and sneak workshops and archer play and ranges on previous games on the map. But this one here seemed to devolve into this very late game camp fest. Neither Civ really can push all that well without bombard cannon. And we have elephant rams versus siege rams, so they have good rams and good trebs with siege engineers. But not having the cannon does really slow you down, and especially when players are adding these many guard towers. And I have a good feeling that we'll see more and more guard towers added in TTL than we saw before because of how many Korean mirrors we had on the Red Bull ladder. And I think players are really getting a feel for just how strong the guard tower is and how great of an upgrade it is over the watchtower. You really got to play the campaigns if you want to know the pain of fighting guard towers. Everything feels slow after the Wooloo ladder. Oh, Elevate, thank you very much for the sub. Now you can pause the stream.
Behold, the horde of Genghis Khan approaches.
You can always just hop over to YouTube if you want to do that, but yeah, if your Twitch is unrolling very slowly, the ability to rewind the stream, and they're only rolling it out to subs, unfortunately. I hope all the voice lines are good. So yeah, floating 10k food is Ozone. He's ready for the score victory, I guess. And as much as he controls the southern water, Survivalist is still pushing. Oh, and we had another sub, be driven by demons. That's what those siege towers are driven by.
Hear that howl? That one's the king of the wolves. He can take down an army of our Norsemen.
I bet Survivalist wishes he had one of those Ornlus right now. Yeah, Bear, you can watch a VOD on Twitch by rewinding. The way to do it is you go to the streamer's URL, you put /videos on the end of the URL, and go directly to their videos page, and then you can click on the current VOD. But it is rather clunky, as you say. These maps are given to stalemates. It's an interesting one, right? Because there are so many opportunities for early aggression on it, but I think the way Survivalist played it, going for that Phosphoro-esque fast castle Rathas, means Ozone's not going to do a lot of early damage with the castle. And the fact that they're so far apart and that the castle was at home instead of forward means Survivalist isn't going to do too much damage with his attack, so that lends itself to this longer stalemate, particularly with how they docked opposite parts of the water. Oh, look at those cannon. Oh my gosh, what the heck? That was insane. Cannon galleons have a bit of splash damage now, and since the longbones clump up, what the heck? I've never seen cannon galleons that dangerous before. Oh my gosh. That was amazing. Yeah, stacking is scary. Oh, that's a good demo. That was a good demo. What a beautiful map. Yeah, as I said, all credits to Death Counter for designing this map. Yeah, that's true. I'd seen it with Dromins when they first came out, but cannon galleons, I believe they didn't have splash damage at first, and they did not have an attack round before. They didn't have an attack round, but now they have a bit of splash damage. Yeah, earmuffs. Yeah, that's what I said earlier. Headphones or earmuffs. So more guard towers for Ozone. He's being pushed clockwise around the water, trying to secure more gold. The crocodile getting hungry and fighting a Vil. And these fires going down. Yeah, that was a change. But oh, there's a okay. The cannon galleons running away from one demo. Oh, they get the demo. They get the demo. All right, now they can push those towers. Those beautiful guard towers. Survivalist, how could you? Such a beautiful building, destroying it with your cannon galleons. Yeah, Survivalist also doesn't really play water maps. Oh, and he did dock the middle finally. He docked the middle going for fast fires. So much he needs to micro now. Ram pushed on land, fighting in the middle, fighting on the outside. Everything pushing. Ozone going full heavy demo now. And he's using the market, selling quite a bit of his food. This man has sold 1,000, I think the webcam blocks this, 5,000 plus 3, he sold 9,000 food at the market. And is this pushing? The scores are closing. Survivalist is closing on scores, and this is what I really worried about for the Vikings, their ability actually to finish off the Bengalis. And I just don't like their matchup against the Elephant Archers. Ozone still has a KD lead. Happening in the waters on the far left. Survivalist is sailing around. Down here, he's going to sail into some guard towers. Oh, these vills.
Oh.
Full once-slow mode, deforesting the entire island. Ozone has 1 relic, Survivalist has 4 relics, and you're right, no crop rotation for Ozone. Survivalist has crop rotation. So I think Survivalist outlasts him here. How much wood is left? Let's check per player, right? So we'll check over here. At least I'll check the main island. Not much for Survivalist. So I'll just try to double-click the trees on his island. Oh, I forgot. The map used a whole bunch of different trees. It's beautiful, but it makes it hard to select just the trees on one side. Are these Ozone's trees? Let's call this 10,000 wood for Survivalist. And Ozone, I am struggling to find the trees. Hear that, and those, and those. Maybe some wood up here. Let's say 10,000 to 5,000. Survivalist definitely has more wood. And you can move out to the tiny islands. Ozone has an island out here. That's another 3,000 wood. An island out here, maybe. Oh my gosh, look at those demos. He had 20 demos there, 23 demos. He needs to hit something with them. He needs to hit something with them. So guard tower is going down. Why is he queuing normal galleons? They are cheaper for the Vikings than the longboats are. So they can actually be useful in some ways. Demo the Ellies? Ellies have so much HP, I don't know if demos even work on them. Survivalist trying to creep down across the coast with more towers. He does have keep now. Researched keep. Oh, cannon galleons apparently counter longboats, I've learned. Let's see a good splash on the longboats. Here we go, here we go. And, oh, boom. They engage the fires now, more cannon galleons. Oh. What a sight of Survivalist now ahead and score all the longboats cleaned. He's gonna run to the demo soon, that'll be dangerous. Oh, his pop is dropping though, you're right, his population is dropping. And he is running low on food. His population, does he have Mahayana yet? He still doesn't have Mahayana. And full pikeman line, spear line. And you see that plus 25 against War Elephant. And plus 27 against Cav. Both of those apply to the Elephant Archer. So they do far more damage because they have both armor classes. Maybe pikes and rams could be the play. And 4-1 relics will be a problem. That will be a problem. Oh, you're right. Losing demos to the cannon galleons. So much more deadly now that they have that attack round. That's true. Maybe he doesn't need it with his pop. Butter spitting facts in the chat. Sell stone, buy food. Not the worst idea, honestly. Food's probably rather cheap. Let's find a market. What are the market prices? Stone is expensive. Food is cheap. So yeah, I mean, even with 4 relics, you could consider simply buying food, but then you make the sell price better for Ozone. Also, heavy scorps, that could be a play for the Vikings. They do get fully upgraded heavy scorps, if I recall. Yep. A lot of wood for that when wood's running out, but they do have an attack bonus against elephants. Nice high elo match. That's what I was saying, Silver League, and we already have 2K4 plus level players. Yeah, glad there's no 75-minute timer here. You'd be done already. Oh my gosh, did you see that reformation? Oh my gosh, look at that. Units did not used to do that. What is this box formation patrol? Oh my gosh, look at that. Oh, and he reformed into a line now. The box formation didn't reform like that in the past. And a Windows 98 screensaver. Some kind of bird. I like the Windows 98 screensaver. Like, this is a good old patrol. That box formation doesn't reform like that, or at least it didn't in the past. One of those fractal patterns. We'll need to bring back our Mandelbrot set for another map. Play more fractal next TTL. What's Ozone doing? Well, Ozone had a pretty big score lead early on, but as the Vikings against Elephant Archers couldn't quite push and finish Survivalist off, and now we're in the long stalemate situation. And I am glad that these players started an hour early. I am very glad they started an hour early. Yeah, Future of AV2 box formation stand ground patrol. Box formation no attack stance patrol to surround, then you swap to a line stand ground patrol to collapse and attack. Oh man, what is this? I'm not used to casting this long now. I've had the luxury of ending early. Is this a campaign? Feels like it. Guard towers, lots of scenery, and different waters blended together. A tropical paradise map with oysters. It feels like a campaign. It's only game one. And remember, we still have Coast Arena in the map pool. We still have Coast Arena. Oh my gosh, that Vil playing some dodgeball with the cannon galleons. Archers destroying the galleon. It does not have the amount of resources left on the map feature. It does not. I have to double click all the resources to click on all of them. But it does feel that Ozone is out of wood. He only has 69 left and 7 Vils on wood. Oh, he has more now. They dropped off their wood. But I feel that now that we're at a 5k score lead for Survivalist, he has more resources than Ozone does. If I recall, I'm pretty sure both sides of the island are balanced to have the same number of resources. Maybe it's a bit different for the neutral islands, but that also gives you something to fight over. Oh, hello, Vils. Where did the demos go? Where did the demos go? Tell me you still have a demo. Oh, yes, Ozone. Ozone, one of those box formation demos, please. Please. Right up here, get the Vils. They're all gonna be around the tower. Demo them, please. Yeah, it doesn't have an area selection sub-option. If you drag a box around something including resources and player objects, it selects the player objects. Which is sad. Sometimes you just want to select the resources, but I don't think there's an option for that. I would also love an option for a bigger mouse cursor. It's super tiny on 4K. And as I said, I wrote a very simple, or I found a Python library to send my mouse cursor as just a quick server on a WebSocket to OBS. But for whatever reason, on Windows 11, that messes up my audio. So I need to find another solution to that. Survivalists could build a wonder, but there's no standard victory. No standard victory. Yeah, real Windows 11 moment. It worked on Windows 10. That's why I'm not streaming to 4K on YouTube. Once I swapped to Windows 11, I wasn't able to sustain the stream properly, so we'll have to rethink that, or do some more debugging. Yeah, builds the wonder on Ozone's island. He could go full Saladin mode and build the wonder on one of the tiny islands. If you remember Saladin 6, you could do that on the island in the original game. Nope, no one gets bombard cannons here. No one gets bombard cannon. Neither player does, which is part of what makes it so hard to end the game. No bombard cannon. They get cannon galleons, elite cannon galleons. They get floating bombard cannon. I see them going down to ships, Baron, not to land cannon. I gotta take my headphones off for a minute. Wearing them for like 2 hours straight. CPU isn't under load and the GPU does. The GPU is not the issue, but I'm having rendering lag that looks like it's a GPU issue, which is completely strange because I did not have that before. And I was I'm encoding the Twitch stream on the CPU and the YouTube stream on the GPU when I was dual streaming, which didn't make sense that I was seeing GPU issues or render issues and not upload issues. So I don't know. Sure, we developed cannon to put on boats. We can't figure out how to put them not on boats. Probably some naval engineers who figured it out and won't share their secrets with the landlubbers. My guess is maybe it's capture rage killing the GPU. Wouldn't surprise me because I've had VRAM issues in the past. I do have 32 gigabytes of RAM, so I do hope it's not a RAM issue. But because in the past I was using NVIDIA Dynamic Super Resolution to upscale to 4K. Now I'm just natively in 4K, which I'm guessing should be easier on the GPU. Anyway, thank you, Yellow Turd, for the follow. As Survivalist keeps pushing in, and Ozone, probably hoping Survivalist runs out of resources too, trying to farm. He does have crop rotation now, going to extract as much as he can from the islands, and he's going to, pick up some more vills on his transport and come back to the mainland, maybe? And yeah, you're right, a huge win for Survivalist on a water map. Now, I wonder how many Seychelles games will end up like this, going super late. Because from what I've seen, in the past it was a super aggressive map that ended early. Maybe ironically, by making the map smaller and giving fewer opportunities for sneak attacks, perhaps because they're easier to scout, maybe we've made the map actually less aggressive than the larger version. The game is still going on, Meta North, yes. Still the wonder for the intimidation factor, yep. I don't know if... Wait, you know, he always has access to gold because he is chieftains, right? He is chieftains. +5 gold when defeating vills. And maybe if Survivalist were ever to do Mahayana and get more vills, that would just mean more gold for Ozone. Right? Maybe Survivalist could sling gold to Ozone. I'm gonna take insight into balance from a Survivalist game. I think Survivalist games are very insightful. I'm interested to see what he will do with the siege towers now. Only when it kills vills or monks. I don't know if fishing ships count, but he doesn't have any of those or any trade carts.
Hi.
These vills just chilling with each other. I think Survivalist does get this eventually. Nine, 90 idols total, 16 and 60. Lots of idols. And Survivalist now with a good KD. And I think he should get this. I think he should get this fairly quickly at this point. We're an hour 30 in. And maybe I just jinxed us to be here for 3 hours. But he has cannon galleons all over the place. But what a beautiful island with guard towers in the north. Ozone's just having the time of his life here, moving his vills around, extracting every last resource he can find. Yeah, next endless game coming. Well, he has 92 vills. Survivalist gets a good couple raids in, then maybe he thinks about selling and doing spies. You like how they can coexist sometimes? Well, this one coexisting no longer. Survivalist has exterminated all of the Ozone villagers there. Ozone, though, sailing around with some galleons going for the docks. Is it considered disrespectful? No, I wouldn't say so. He's still, it's like, he has 4K wood in the bank. He's still above, at a pretty good population. And he doesn't see what we do with what Survivalist is banking. So he might be hoping this becomes a wood game where maybe, just maybe, he can extract everything he can from the outside islands and outlast Survivalist. It's, from our perspective, I think, yeah, it's pretty clear Survivalist is going to win, but you have to remember, Ozone doesn't see the bank that Survivalist has, and he's maybe hoping, as was the case earlier in the game, that Survivalist doing the more expensive unit might be struggling a bit. If I told you Survivalist at this point didn't have Mahayana, you might start thinking, Oh boy, yeah, maybe he's running out too. I mean, he does see the score, but also score can be inflated due to water. Right, Survivalist won the water. That might not indicate the state of the game. Outlast Survivalist, you say that. As though Darkening doesn't exist. And losing the Trebs, that is not good. That's not good. Those are hard to replace at this point. Easily Cannon Galley now can take out the Trebs. Can he hit the castle, though? Actually, can he hit the monastery? Ooh, he can hit the monastery. Oh, Survivalist could pull off a relic heist. He does still have gold in the bank. Yeah, good job putting the gather point near the TC instead of forward. He wants to dock again, apparently. Maybe that dock foundation has been there. They got some box formations. Honestly, I'm just kind of relieved. This is relaxing to cast. We had a long Dark Age. We have a long game. Asgar, thank you for the follow. We're not restricted by 75 minutes. We had a nice, peaceful 3-villager start. Yep, the gather point determines where the relics eject when the monastery is destroyed indeed. So if you're being pushed and you're losing your monasteries, make sure you put your gather point at the back in your base. A few tiles might be the difference between them, say, like being in range of this TC or not being in range of the TC where you can protect them. So you can imagine the relics popping out there when the castle goes down. Easier to pull a relic heist than if they're back here. So actually a few tiles like that can make a pretty big difference sometimes. Does it work better than the gather point for siege workshops? Actually yes, because the relics have a smaller size than the siege does. Oh, Cannon Galleon sniped off by the Treb. Oh, I see the cannonballs slowing down. Tell me capture rate isn't gonna crash now. Oh, nice shot on the Vills. This went what are the APMs? Unfortunately, the free version of Capture Rage doesn't give you APMs. We can check AOE2 Insights afterwards, though. And that'll give you APMs. I don't know why they put APM behind a paywall when other sites give it to you, but just with Microsoft things, I guess. Ooh, Cannon Galleon still hitting the skirms. Here we are. Oh, the Vill's going down. Now Ozone, he's dropping in pop. Now things are ending for him. And there's the GG. So once his pop starts dropping, he'll call the GG. That was lovely. That was lovely. Well, it's the same data that's extracted from the rec. They might count APM differently. I know. I think the Capture Age team does a lot to try to limit like excessive clicking or stuff, but then maybe the other sites do too. And Credolin, thank you for the follow. I have heard that they are slightly different in the past, but that's not based on the data they're extracting. That's the same. It's whatever they transform from that data, and maybe it is the same. But I've never sat down and compared it myself. Watching MBL Winchester. I don't know. I'm watching Survivalist Ozone. Also, again, apologies. I don't have an overlay for this, so I'll just go to the drafts. We have Survivalist up 1-0. Let me bring the drafts back up, I think. Oh, it still says MBL Winchester on the top. Wait, what? Oh my gosh, it said MBL Winchester? Wait, what? Wait, where did it say MBL Winchester? Oh, wait, what? Oh, here it does. On the post screen. Okay, hopefully I didn't have that up the whole game. That's just an image over Capture Age that I didn't update for TTL yet. Okay, 24 seconds for this next game. Okay, drafting. Update the drafts. Update the drafts. Right, so first win goes to Survivalist. Loss for the Vikings, win for the Bengalis. Next map looks like it should be African River. Tiebreaker's not scheduled yet, no. Oh, also, thank you everyone for tuning in. We got 400 viewers. I guess, are all of you usually people watching Survivalist? Yeah, Water Combat I think was more fun, honestly, in AOC when we had the Galley micro. But it does become a bit less fun late game. Alright, I'll put Ozone in the red again. And do we need Cyan again to see on the water? Maybe. Do I have to do that all 3 games? I guess we need it for Coast Arena too. I normally go cyan for water maps because I think it's easier to see on the mini-map than blue. Here for a palette cleanser after 2 weeks of mirror matches. I'm sure everyone is. Oh, hello, Jeep. How are you doing? How are you doing? Oh, look at those lovely emotes you got. That's so colorful. Hi, Liam. That's as beautiful and vibrant as Seychelles was. Where's my YouTube chat? There we are. The music is from AoE 1DE. That's the remastered soundtrack, and also from AoE 2 and Age of Mythology. So those 3 sources. Update the scoreboard, thank you. I need the reminders. I need my palette cleansed after so many games on the ladder that I need to be reminded to update the scoreboard. Is he gonna yeah, Survivalist double deer pushes all the time, right? This is standard for him. All you people coming from Survivalist are like, yeah, this is nothing. He does it all the time. There he goes. So this is African River, a map that we spent a lot of time modifying so that the TCs were more fair, and so that the TCs are partially on land, partially on water. It's not perfect, but I think we evened out a couple things that we felt were imbalanced. Also took some care to maintain some consistency in the middle zebra locations and boar locations, and we balanced out the golds a tiny bit around the outside. The players do have a very tight area in the middle, where maybe we'll see some men-at-arms rushes. I would love to see some type of douche one game. But then also some more fish on the outside where they can dock, and some wood lines that are thicker on the outside. So Armenians, Mongols because of the abundance of hunt on this map, tons of deer, tons of ostriches, and then rhinos, Ozone's first pick. Armenians for the mule carts to go to the outside and grab the trees. So we might see a church rush, yes. I think I'm going to have... No Fire Lancers between these 2 civs, at least. No Fire Lancers here. Mongols not banned. Mongols first pick. And time to pop off. Thank you for the follow. Also earlier, Kratalin, thank you also for the follow, if I missed that. And Asgar, I think I read your name, but thank you for the follows. As we are... Ooh, we got a lot of follows tonight. We're 14,829 followers, and we're so close to 15k, so thank you all. And more ostriches going down. That Vil will build a house and then lure the rhino. Longsword play? Ooh, oh. Feudal longswords. How many feudal longswords does it take to destroy a TC? You get arson, you get your blacksmith upgrades. That's the type of thing Survivalist would do. And ostrich getting pushed in. Oop. Ozone not doing a double ostrich push. Like, I'm getting 15 to 20 as answers. Those are very different answers. Land swords. Hello, Island baskets. How are you doing? And go 30 to be safe. So Red Neil gives me 15, 20 to be safe. Jade Arrow Gamer gives me 12, but 30 to be safe. That's a wider range. Maybe 60, maybe 200. Baskets brings out all the lawns from all the viewers. So, oh my gosh, look at this lumber camp. That is a thing of beauty. All the Vils on different trees. Another Vil can fit on the opposite side of this tree. Then they'll chop through the trees and give them even more pockets. Oh my gosh. So this is just as good as that box formation, other than this one Vil who couldn't drop off the wood between his 2 friends. Who has to walk all the way to the other side. But doing that just means he avoided the scout. Or maybe runs into the scout. One of those. Ooh, he'll fight the scout. More Vils come over, though. Oh, look at all that chat. At least we upped the chat engagement metrics there.
Timo.
Baron confused. I don't know how you put up with team games at your level. I did see a 30-minute queue. Happy Leaves, you've probably seen lots of really long queues from people. I know I've seen 30 plus and complaints about that. So Feudal Age on the way for both. You play... Yeah. I'm talking about Turs though. Turs he's been like top 4 on the ladder before, or top 3. I think he's had one of those medals by his name. But at that level, the matchmaking seems to give you very long queues, especially after a couple of dodges. So did Survivalist see the dock? So the dock is on the outside, and yes, Survivalist saw it. Did Survivalist dock himself? No, he did not. So it'll be non-dock versus dock. Remember, this is Ozone's home map with his very first civ, and Survivalist is saying, let's not play water, let's go for a forward. There is the range. Here comes the men-at-arms upgrade, and he will be getting right on that wood line, ruining the perfect work of art that Ozone had established. And he's even walling in the vills. Look at that, he's walling them in, but they have an escape route if they can path through it. That'll be 2 dead vills. Vills turning to fight, the men-at-arms upgrade comes in, and that's 2 dead villagers right away. The forward working out. Where now are the men-at-arms as another vill goes down? Where are the men-at-arms for Ozone? They are running around the bottom. They will find a mule cart maybe. Survivalist has to wall that off. He has plans for fun this tournament. I'm sure he does. He said I mean, for what I've seen, he's really been practicing and studying the maps. So he's had 2 very clean builds planned so far. That first execution with all the idle time on Seychelles probably wasn't what he wanted. But here it feels maybe a bit better. How much? Oh, did they change the cost of the man-at-arms upgrade? It used to be 40 gold. And I forget the food cost, but I just remember the gold because you had to have exactly that. I forget if they changed that in a patch. I think they decreased the cost. It's still 100 food, 40 gold? Alright. Yeah, so an amazing tower, if it actually goes up, what does that hit? That hits the straggler tree. It hits the berries and it hits the gold. So, what amazing tower. A tower that, at some point, Ozone might be able to rush down with vills, but so long as these men-at-arms are here, that's not going to happen. And as I said, Survivalist did need to wall in this mule cart, and has to repair. Ozone here, no arson yet, no forging, so the men-at-arms could be doing more damage to the wall, and Survivalist not repairing properly, and the men-at-arms are in. The men-at-arms are in, but he could sacrifice the scout and a couple of vills to re-wall. He's not. His scout goes down, and this will be a dead vill for him, so Ozone getting some revenge. Oh, this map is amazing. This is hectic. Another man-at-arms rush on that villager, and that vill goes down. Arch, are we all Linux users in the chat now? Oh, hello, Archfrost. Have I seen the gift that PB made of the Turs, Emu, and Masty as timber doodles? I have not seen that yet. You should post it in the Discord and tag me, and then I will look at it when I get a chance to look at my tags. Armenian Feriders Fire Lancers were 3rd best. Well, give me your tier list then about the Fire Lancers then. I've used Arch in the past. Hello, Andrew Willaloo. Yeah, you can kill the TC with demos. I tried that against Tato once on his birthday. It almost worked. So wheelbarrow on the way for Ozone. Not on this map, on Water Nomad. And Survivalist getting on the water now. He docked, and he did a forward dock. Oh my gosh, that lumber camp was a thing of beauty, a work of art. But now it's deserted. All lonely as the dock came up behind it. And Hannibal IVV, is that a Roman numeral for a number? Thank you very much for the follow. These men-at-arms still pushing in. So 5 Vil kills to 3 Vil kills. Ozone still with a score lead. And as the Mongols with a dock, still more res collected. He's still fishing. And now running a fish away, can start getting some fire galleys out himself. And as a Vil on the outside, both players have Vils on the outside. Look at the mule cart over here. Oh, is Jade Arrow Gamer asking what is Lons? So fires attacking each other. Slav trample damage were 2nd, but Wu regenerating dominated. Interesting. I would have thought Drazina dominated, but I guess regenerating fire lancers are very scary. Armenians without double bit axe are a bit sad. That's true, they're not getting their eco bonus of the extra efficient wheel card upgrades. Also, Armenians without longswords are also a bit sad. We're Survivalist. You're Survivalist, where are the longswords? What is this man-at-arms into archers and skirms gameplay? After all the Empire Wars we just saw, where are the longswords? Whatever my birthday presents. It's like Genghis Khan 4. That Persian Shah needed a good present. So, the Men-at-Arms still harassing on the berries from Ozone. And he is up by a Vil. And a few snapperfish out there on the pond. Scout taking out a Vil by the dock. And more archers come in. As that scout has 11 HP left. And that's a dock. So Survivalist wanted a dock for fishing ships, but the Men-at-Arms might be able to take that down, actually. You have any upgrades? Still no upgrades on them as far as their attack goes. And he will abandon that. Probably doesn't want to be demo sniped. But market time for Ozone, and the market means he can buy his way up. And with that res collected advantage that he has, Mongols with fish and hunt, they are going to be picked very highly on this map. Looks like it's about time for Ozone to get up to the next stage. Yeah, after all that, the Mongols still are fine when they got some counterattack damage in. 6-6 Eco KD, and he is actually fairly smooth. He's buying 300 food and still can't go up. needs to maybe sell some stone. So Mongols OP, that's what we learned. Yeah, still no double bit axe. But that's what happens when you go super aggressively for Men-at-Arms and a forward. You sometimes have to skip the eco upgrades, and skipping them early on can mean you actually never get them. Can lead to Nikov-like gameplay. I started watching this game exactly 12 days ago, and I'm so excited to see Firelancer versus Firelancer in Castle Age. Ooh, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but we actually have different unit compositions in this tournament. We have a Civ draft and bands. Or Nikov, still catching Nikov strays. Okay, house destroyed, Survivalist wants to fight with Vils. And again, apologies for the ad. Everyone on YouTube special and doesn't get ads. Great Korean's band, Civ Draft. Civ Draft Baron. There's a Civ Draft with bands. And there's a GG. Ozone is victorious. And don't worry, Survivalist did write GG in the chat. You just can't see it because he wrote it after he resigned. So he is still being polite as the gentleman he is. So we will have better KD there for Ozone. And after a bit of mischief at the start, did get some revenge with his Men-at-Arms, taught Survivalist own lesson. And the Mongols are OP. OP as ever. This is a difficult map, I agree. Right, so where are we at with the drafts? Right, so display capture for the drafts. Ozone wins his home map of African River, and he wins his first pick of Mongols against the Armenians. So, Byzantines, Romans, and Shu for Survivalist, Spanish Way, and Bohemians for Ozone, and the map will be Coast Arena. Relaxing AOM. AOM is great. It is a play all three. Play all three. All the sets in TTL will be play all three. And you have points at the end of the season to either qualify for the next round or go to the playoffs. And when I say next round, I mean next season, you can move up to gold. And if you're at the bottom of the league, then you get relegated and have to qualify again. So let's see them starting. And Coast Arena, 30 seconds. Let's go. Alright. And it will be Spanish Byzantines. Let's open trade there. And here we go. I think we'll do the same thing. Let's keep the colors Ozone in red, Survivalist in cyan, and I think we can see that on... probably could have just done cyan, purple, and we can see that. Right, so here we go. Coast Arena. If you saw my map scripting streams, you know this is incredibly hacky and that I turn comments into if statements in order to get the gates in a perfect circle. But Ozone will be the red Spanish, Survivalist the cyan Byzantines. Byzantines are definitely one of his favorite civs. They are my favorite civ. And he'll have some oysters. So the map gives each player 4 oysters. That's 1,800 gold among those oysters. You also have quite a few shorefish you can dock. Take the oysters, take the shorefish, and then a couple of deep fish too. Who scripted this this map? This was originally a map from the Mad Catter, and he actually did something that was insanely hacky too to get the circular walls and circular gates. And I know a lot of other maps also use his technique. But being a perfectionist, I thought, you know what? Sometimes these players only get 1 gate, and then the other player gets 2 gates. Let's make sure they have the same number of gates. And so now I give them 3 gates every time. I had the pleasure of playing Elite Katas versus Imperial Camels. Oh my gosh. Why don't we have round gates? What do you mean round gates? They're like this, or like circular gates, not in a diagonal? Now, I'll tell you this was, like, insane to script properly. And is this map Jeep? This is Coast Arena. This is Coast Arena. Oh, give the point to Ozone. Thank you. My Red Bull ladder mine, not adjusting the scoreboard. So, and again, all credits also to the Mad Catter for, again, designing an absolutely beautiful color scheme for the map to make it all bright and vibrant and tropical and lovely. The water kind of gradually descends to blue out to sea. Good job, T East. Yep, and on this map, the stone and the gold both are guaranteed to be forward and along the wall. So if you want to go for some type of tower rush, you can, but don't know how effective that'll be with fish in the back. This is one of those maps that I can instantly tell I would hate to play regardless of how aesthetically pleasing it is. Map looks like a smiling cartoon character with comically big eyes. It does kind of look like that. You can see the eyes and the smile. I like smiles. So let's see, dock or survivalist? And I wonder, can you fish and go fast imp with the Byzantines? Is the map pool the same across all leagues? So there was Bronze League that happened already. That used the pool from Season 4, but now Silver, Gold, and Platinum all use a new map pool now for Season 5. So for all the TTL that will happen over the next few weeks, we have the same pool of 15 maps. Guy with a unibrow wearing Harry Potter glasses. Do we need like a scar somewhere on the forehead?
See? Monday?
See?
So there are also seawalls on the map, which are quite pretty. You have a bit of shallows too on the outside, so you can maybe see some demos. We already saw a game where target went forward for an aggressive dock. The seawalls do help stymie that a bit because you have to sail around the walls, and they do help scout the forward. But there are of course no gates, so you are exposed on the water with your fish if someone goes forward. Is the score incorrect? No, it's 1-1. That's correct, right? Survivalist won game 1, Ozone game 2. I'm not going mad, right? That's correct. I gave Ozone the point. I think we're good. And hello, Hi Wave. Oh my gosh, that's an amazing name. It's like hello and waving, all in one. Amazing. All right, Beargwin tells me I'm correct. I'll trust Beargwin. Are those walls seawalls? Have I seen any transport feudal? I haven't seen transport feudals yet, but I've only seen one game on it. I did see the forward dock, as I said. So maybe we'll see transport feudal plays at some point. Could imagine Catan's going scouts and transporting them inside. That could wreak some havoc. Bergwin never makes any mistakes. Oh, transport conks. Ooh. Okay, okay. We have forward walls from Ozone walling the middle. Yeah, the middle's small enough. I guess you can do this. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. He's saying, I know Survivalists like siege towers. I'm not going to let him siege tower directly into my base. Transport donks, yes. Yeah, it's the first week, so not much sample size yet. Correct about that. So it is more walling. Going to the edge of the map. I was not expecting this, but here we are. It could also do like the same thing over here. It doesn't have a relic or anything from that wall. He walled the relic out. At least he didn't do what MBL did and didn't use the relic as part of the wall. Yeah, Ozone's adding the scar to the map, right? He's adding the scar to the map. Ah, so feudal age for survivalist. At that point, wall. At that point, right? Do the wall on this side and wall in survivalist. Okay, I had a hunch or a hope that he would try to fast imp. Maybe he still could. So what do the Spanish do against the Byzantines? Neither has siege engineers, but both have bombard cannon. I don't know, this feels so chill. This feels so chill, like I can watch the game and it's not over in 4.5 minutes. Yo, as far as I know, he did. As far as I know, he did. I wrote my disagreement with the decision in the admin server. As far as I know, he did. So, survivalist up to feudal age. You know, admin console. I'm not an admin for Red Bull, but we have a server with all the admins together. So, Market Blacksmith on the way for survival, and we'll have another mining camp coming up on the gold. He was cooking on this map. Was he coming up with the strats on this map? I know I saw him playing some games with Phosphoro. Maybe he did that to help cook up strats. I think the penalty for giving an admin loss simply for streaming without a delay is way too harsh in every circumstance that we've seen it so far. And I think that if you're going to do anything, it should just be a prize pool reduction. And it shouldn't be something that actually affects the standings. I think that the rule itself is a poor rule. But if you're going to have it there, I would think that it should just be a prize pool reduction. Or if it's the problem is if you're applying it to the score, it needs to be done immediately, and doing it retroactively has since messed up everyone's elo if you're giving him minus 100 elo. And if you're doing it ahead of time, then I guess the elo penalty isn't really a penalty because you'll just earn it back. But I think it's bad the rule gets toned down because it's the top player who does it. Well, I think it's also the opposite, Bergwin, that if it wasn't a top player, probably no one would have noticed. Right, so it feels like you're just being extra harsh to a top player. But anyway, we will have Castle Age on the way for both of these players, and we'll have Loom on the way here for Survivalist. Vanilla Donut on the ladder. I also think it's a rather awkward thing to do for the ladder because you can say, hey, everyone who's playing the tournament, you need to have a 2-minute delay. But if you're just some random person playing Age of Empires, maybe streaming on Twitch for 10 viewers, like, what's going to happen to you if you stream without a delay? Like, does that rule apply to you? If there's no chance you're qualifying for the tournament, but you're still on the ladder? And I think we had that situation. I don't know if Nacho used a delay when he found Vinch today, but I know he was streaming and queued up. And what I heard it was on his VOD, so I don't know if there was a delay there or not, which puts it in a weird situation where, like, he's not in the tournament. If technically he's not supposed to do that, what do you then do to punish him? Should there be a punishment? So, I don't know. Yeah. Right, and if there are multiple top 50 players who violated it, I think that also points to there is probably rather poor communication from the admins about the rule. And sticking it in the handbook and making one Discord post about it is, in my view, not enough communication. And if you're an admin for the tournament, part of your job is making sure that players are indeed aware of and following rules, which is, you know, it's not an easy task, because you're relying on tons of people from different nations to read the handbook and understand it. But that's also part of why you need to do a really careful job with it. So here we have a forward castle from Ozone. Forward castle from Ozone. Survivalist deciding, let's fight with Vils. I don't think this stops the castle. There's no way this stops the castle, right? He doesn't have enough Vils to fight that. He's maybe trying to snipe off Vils. He's gotten 1 kill so far. And this will be Conquistadors from Ozone. This would be Conquistadors. I don't think it's fair to say Yo hardly uses Discord. I know that he does use Discord. But I also don't know if there are any avenues for Chinese players where I don't know exactly how they all access Discord. But I can certainly imagine that. I mean, teams are required to have, or players usually if they sign up are required to have a representative who speaks English or can access Discord to communicate with them. But I don't think saying Discord itself is the problem. But I think that there probably could be better communication. So, gate on the way up. Pretty sure it's to prevent sniping, dodging, not cheating. I actually think it's just every Microsoft tournament, they probably internally have something that they require an anti-cheat, and the spec delay is how they enforce that. And whether or not it's actually effective at that, it's probably something that the World's Edge just needs to have if they're sponsoring an esports event. That's my impression for why it's required. Because I think that it actually does very little to prevent cheating. But it's there for all tournaments. I don't know if there's anything specific about the sniping. But I know that they indeed were more careful about making sure that stuff wasn't visible, like on the dashboard or any of the sites to see who was queuing or not. For everyone trying to snipe ACCM. Part was a little salty about the Nacho +1. Well, that's an interesting situation, because if he doesn't get Nacho, then maybe he gets someone else where he also gets +1 in a quick game, or maybe he gets someone else with plus a greater number of points but a shorter game, and then maybe he doesn't fit the MBL game in. I mean, but a longer game, then he doesn't fit the MBL game in the time limit. So, lots of what ifs you can speculate about there. So, anyway, on the water, we also have fires from Ozone. Fires from Ozone as he's pushing with Conks at the front. Bodkin for Survivalist as he's still on 1 TC defending with skirms. And Ozone has done a ton of damage here. You don't expect to see Byzantines losing on water, because they have great fires, but that might be exactly what's happening to Survivalist here. It does have 2 more fishing ships than Ozone, as those fires glide around. What did Nacho do? He joined the ladder, queued up, and happened to snipe Vinchester when Vinchester needed to win a whole bunch of points, and it was a legit game. There's nothing wrong with that, but Vinch then got 1 point when he really needed more than 1 point. So Mangonel comes forward, gets 2 Vils under the TC. Survivalist still pretty much equal in the Vil/fishing ship, or plus fishing ship count. But I don't like all this pressure, and the fact that Ozone is about to drop yet another castle. And that castle will be on the opposite side of the gold. So Survivalists desperately rely on all of those oysters. As Happily says, I can certainly imagine that being a technical limitation on their end. But it definitely made it for an unfortunate situation, because Age of Empires is usually a game about, you know, maybe there's a 5 to 10 minute window within the game where different players would resign at different times when it seems like the game's over. And, you know, we always have arguments. Oh, that's an early resign, that's a late resign. But you get into one of those situations in a game that's depending on a time limit, and it can get ugly. Thankfully, that didn't happen, and it counted like it should have. I mean, you could get into a situation where, you know, if that wasn't a harsh time limit, you could see MBL trying to hold on, maybe go for 1 Treb fight in Imp, and then resign in a reasonable game. You could honestly see another player, when their forward gets killed, resign earlier than that. It's completely up to the player. Okay, Ozone, do not mangonel your own castle. Do not mangonel your own castle. Okay, he's doing splash damage to that castle from the range. Oh my gosh, that was risky. That was risky. Well, he's destroyed all the ranges, and he's getting a second castle forward. And I think Survivalist is dead. I think he's completely dead here. There's no way he goes imp on this eco. He doesn't have any farms. He's relying on fish that have run out and are being destroyed by fires. And here this castle is up in his face. 3 mangonels on the TC. And this was the map he probably needed to win, but he went for a Vil fight on the castle immediately, and I don't really like that response from the Byzantines. If anything, I feel Byzantines need to wall behind, do their own castle, and try to go imp, but yeah, there's the GG. And pretty simple Spanish game. That's exactly how you want to play the Spanish. Forward castle. You don't want to have the castle in your base at home. You want to have the castle forward. You save so much time with the castle forward, and it breaks the walls. And Jonesy, thank you for the follow. Then you break the walls, you have conks, and with the gold and stone both being forward, that is a great castle. And that's why we put them forward, so you can scout that and figure out where you want to drop your castle. And Ozone did exactly that, put the castle there, broke through. And maybe Survivalist needs to rethink playing so passively and relying on the Vils to fight off the castle, especially the Spanish castle that gets built faster. So we get some skirms in the back. And Gloopy Doopy, thank you for the follow. This seemed so flat. What do I think about walls on water? I think they add a bit of uniqueness to the map. Make it look a bit pretty. Give you something a bit different. The castle's on the way. And, well, there we go. 2-1 in favor of Ozone. And again, thank you everyone if you usually watch Survivalist for hopping over here and watching him play. That game, that was about as perfect as you could play the Spanish on this map. And all the fires were on the outside. I wonder if this is a standard arena game where you go for a scouts opening or that old school archers opening from Survivalist. He has a way of denying the castle. Castles go at home. Then the timing on the conks doesn't work out that well. I saw a ton of Spanish games on the Red Bull ladder on karsts or other maps where the Spanish player goes for conks, but the castle's at home, and the other player can boom, and by the time the second castle and the conks get forward, it's too late for them to do imp and do pressure. Here, it was exactly what Ozone wanted, and Survivalist didn't have his own defensive castle prepared. He wasn't mining the stone, and that's also something because of the positioning of the stone, the aggressive castle player can scout that, and they can see that you're not on the stone. So, pretty much exactly the way Ozone wants that game played as the Spanish. And Survivalist tried to defend skirms, monks against the conks, but thinking, if I look at his map again, maybe you could say it's a mistake to put the ranges both forward, but you also need something as a wall. So maybe the answer would be full wall and do the ranges in the back, and that way you can rely on skirms. I don't know, it's really tricky once the castle gets forward, though, to stop the Spanish. It is incredibly difficult to do that. You have options, maybe your own defensive castle, fast imp is the Byzantines, trap it down. Maybe hope that you're fishing better, but he was also losing some fish. So it seems like he was relying quite a bit on the fish eco, and the fireship disruption also hurt his food. Let's maybe look at that eco graph. Yeah, so economy, not only was Ozone forward with the castle, he was also ahead in eco for a long time. And give wins to score. And thank you, Makoto, for the follow. So giving wins to score if you don't know the exact time ahead of time, I think is awkward, because the units you have in your queue, essentially you get 10% of the resource in your score, in your stockpile, counts to your score. Then you queue something and you lose that, but then you finish creating it and you get 20% of the resource. So part of a score game is actually managing your queues and your unbuilt foundations so that you clear the queues or delete all the foundations that are unfinished so you get those resources back to your stockpile, or you finish creating them ahead of time so that they're created and count more for the score. It is very, very, very tricky to actually do a score thing if you are just randomly cutting it at a single point. So. It is the DE team. I guess there are lots of people working on DE. Remember, because World's Edge is more of a management studio. Forgotten Empires does the design. There have been other places like Relic working on Relic Link, or Tantalus, who did something, and also this like I think they're called Wicked now. It's Australian mobile games studio. Am I aware about the likely probability of a banana crisis? I am not aware of that, Cosminiot. Survivalist is dead? Yes. I knew the minimap reminded me of something that looks kind of like a Powerpuff Girl. Like a cartoon character. Oh my gosh, I exactly see that. Cartoon character with huge eyes on Coast Arena. Yeah. Relic hasn't touched... Oh, it's all in-house now, really. Okay. Is it still using Relic Link then? I know that Relic had a ton of layoffs and stuff, and I assume they're just solely on Age 4. But I assumed with the maintenances being connected there was stuff. It's now called World's Edge Link. Oh, okay. I didn't realize the name change. Lovely. Alright. So... we have... I guess that's it then. So we hit the chicken cosplay goal, so that will be tomorrow. That will be lovely. What rank am I? Last I played, I was like 1900 or so. I'm usually around like 18-ish to 19-ish, but I haven't really played 1v1s on DE in a while. Dreaded... You talk about the potential banana crisis in the chat. Oh, they moved the domain and all. Okay. Ozone was probably Survivalist's hardest competition for the group stage, so 2-1 loss isn't that bad for him. Alright, let's check the wiki page and see what's going on here. Let's see, Wikipedia TTL. Titans League, Season 5 Silver. Let's just see what all the groups are. So Survivalist's group here. Where is Survivalist? Here. So we have Chart Combito. Let me zoom in a bit. So Chart Combito, Ozone, Say My Name, Survivalist, and You Pudding. Ooh, that is an interesting group. Target Balbaroom here. Ooh, I mean, all these groups have really good players. I look at that and I'm like, how are these players in silver? Koala, Nawe, Dennis, Moore, Stark. Even Deeker down there is a pretty good player. Hard to get a read on Deeker because he's been disqualified from some events in the past. Group C. And all these groups are really interesting, and I find it. I think that this is a tournament where if you really sit down and prepare at the silver level and the gold level, you will do very well. And I think a lot of this is not going to be based on elo or overall maybe ranked ladder skill, but so much as TTL specific preparation. And I think if you prepare really well, anyone in any of these groups could come out on top. I don't know, I just haven't seen Gookie play in a while. I haven't heard anything that happened. I think she just isn't playing AoE 2. But I'm extra excited for Silver League. Because all of these are so really, really good players. But not quite at the top. So we're not going to see perfection. We're going to see a lot of experimentation and different builds. And it's going to be a lot of fun. So variety, off-meta, chaos, yes. You'd like to see Gabby do well? I think everyone would. Other than maybe the players playing against her. other than the 5 other players in Group C, everyone would love to see Gabby do well. Alright, so I think that's it for tonight. Thank you all for watching. Is Survivalist going back online to stream more? I know he normally streams at this time. I could raid him back. And tomorrow morning, it will be Gabby we're casting. So make sure to tune in for that. That is, what time is it? It's 10 a.m. for me, so 15 GMT? If I recall correctly. Yep, 15 GMT. We'll be casting Husiel versus Gabby. And then after that, at the same time, there's Blue versus Niaz, so we'll cast the Rex of that afterwards. Is Deduzu in gold? I think so. What was the result? The result was 2-1 for Ozone. 2-1 Ozone. I need to update my scoreboard for this. I know I still have the Red Bull out of game scene. So thank you all very much. Oh, and is Survivalist going to go live? I see a yes in the chat. Go live, Survivalist. I will raid you. I will end the YouTube stream, though. So everyone on YouTube, and I'll see you tomorrow. And on Twitch.